Hi, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Divorced Woman's Guide podcast. How are you today? I'm so glad that you guys have tuned in, and I am bringing you guys a topic that has been coming up so much right now with all of my clients and with a lot of you guys that have been in contact in my Facebook group, the Divorce Rehab, and also those of you who I've had calls with. And that topic today has to do with all the things we wish we knew way back when we got divorced versus what it is that we know now. And so many of us, they say hindsight is 2020. It could not be more true. I know that there's so many things that I wish that I had known, so many facts and information that I wish I had had before I uttered the D word to my now ex-husband. And unfortunately, you can't go back. That's why I always say to everybody, everybody says, I just want to be done. I just want to be done. And the problem is once you really are done. And anything that you want to modify takes that much more work. So I wanted to share with you guys some of the wisdom that I would actually impart to my younger self, and also the wisdom that I impart to my clients around all the things that you wish you would have known. So if you are somebody who is in the process and you still have time to make adjustments, let's take some good notes right now. And for those of you on the other side, I actually would really love to hear from you guys. What are some of the things that you wish that you had learned or that you wish you had known before you had signed your divorce papers? And the first one that comes up all the time has to do with finances. And the majority of the time it has to do with finances for your children. So for so many of us, our divorce settlement language tends to be really vague around what it is that you are responsible for paying, what your former spouse is responsible for paying as it relates to your kids. And this comes up all the time because the language is super vague. And that what ends up happening is that one parent can say, nope, I'm not covering that. And then the other parent gets to make the tough choice of, well, do I cover that or do I have to say no to my kids, which is so hard for so many of us. And, the finance piece of divorce, I think, is the most important element. One of the things that I didn't know going into my divorce was that I should have contacted my financial planner prior to even uttering those words. However, it was an emotional decision on my part, and it wasn't something that I had gathered the facts around at the time. And so what I would love to impart to you guys is to make sure that you are getting the right and proper financial advice from a financial advisor, somebody who knows divorce. And those financial planners that I wish I would have reached out to today are called CDFAs, and those are certified divorce financial analysts. And there's so much information that they can support you with before you even utter the words divorce. There's so much information they can support you with as you are going through your divorce, because they know the law and they understand the language. And they can tell you what your rights are. They can tell you, what it is that your financial outlook is going to look like. And in conjunction with that, obviously, your attorney, right? Your attorney is there to support you with what it is that you do have a right to ask for, because it is according to your state and whatever the rules are, wherever it is that you guys got married, all those state rules come into play too. But I can tell you guys that I hear all the time about finances. And, I like to believe that everything is always negotiable, that there's always opportunities for you to be able to speak with your former spouse and see where that happy middle ground is. And so, again, if it's something that you guys can figure out where the lines are that you can kind of push out, what it is that you can ask for, what it is that you can't ask for. But for those of you who are still in a place where you can make modifications, that's definitely an area I would recommend for you guys, because it's something that I didn't find out about until a little bit later on. And it's something I always impart my wisdom to my clients about. So I wanted to share that with you today. And then number two thing I wish I would have known back in the day before I signed on the dotted line of my divorce settlement has to do with the fact that, co-parenting as it relates to those of us on the other side of divorce, it doesn't have to be as hard as we make it. And I think that part of that has to do with, so many of us, especially us moms, going from 100% of the time with our kids to 50% or whatever your percent is hard. Not tucking your kids in every night. I remember that was the constant thought that I had. And that was in the back of my mind throughout my entire divorce, was not being able to be with my kids. And aside from that, my now ex-husband had also wanted to co-parent, and I was not in a place to be able to do that with him because I still had so much anger and resentment and bitterness and all those, negative feelings towards him that I just didn't see it as a possibility. And so much of my anxiety came from a place of being in that state, right? Having all those negative emotions. And on top of it, feeling sad for my kids that wasn't the relationship that I wanted us to have had we gotten into this position, right? Getting a divorce, you want to be friends. And I can sit here and tell you guys that we parallel parented for a couple of years. And it wasn't until I actually did the work on myself, not just with therapy, but also hiring a coach. I did energy healing. I also did some spiritual psychology work. And it was a combination of all of these resources and really investing in myself that I was able to get to a place where I was transforming. I was changing my story. I was starting to forgive myself. I was accepting my circumstances, and I was building and creating a new life for myself. And because of that, I was able to come to the table with him as co-parent, as mom, instead of defaulting back into my old role as as wife, as it related to my relationship with him. And I can sit here and tell you guys that I would have never seen us being as friendly as we are today. And I know that that is not the circumstance for a lot of people. However, what I want to impart my wisdom to you about is just be okay with whatever that relationship with your co-parent gets to look like today, because just because it's this way right now doesn't mean that that's the way it's going to be in a year and even 2 years. Give yourself the opportunity to have the relationship that you are capable of having right now, instead of sacrificing yourself, creating discomfort for you and your kids for something that is a possibility down the road. So I impart that wisdom to you guys as well. And then the third thing is that I never saw, when I was on the separated side, what the other side of divorce was ever going to look like. I didn't have anybody who I saw as a role model for me, because I hid, because I didn't want people to know. And I was afraid to search things on my computer at work. And I just was not in a place where I was willing to accept that there was a possibility. For some reason, staying in that negative place felt better to me. And being on the other side, I'm telling you guys, it was so much harder than working through the emotions and knowing and trusting that life gets to be even better on the other side. And the reason I say even better is because you guys know I call my divorce a gift. I say that it happened for me because it really was that wake-up call that I needed to really be able to start creating a life, standing on my own 2 feet, standing in my own skin, creating it from my own lens of the world, instead of relying on other people to show me, right, to reflect back to me what my life was supposed to look like, who it was that I was supposed to show up as. And I say, I have no regrets. I have 0 regrets throughout my life. I am better friends with my now ex-husband than I was when we were married our last couple of years. My kids are thriving. I'm thriving. You guys know I left corporate. I have my business now that I've created. I have flexibility in my schedule. And I've been able to create from the lens of what it is that I want, what it is that I choose, who it is that I am to show up in this world, and to show up here for each and every one of you guys and all the clients that I get to serve every single day. It is a true honor and a true gift to be able to do that. And I hope that some of those tips support you guys today, wherever it is that you are in your process, because, as I said in the beginning of the podcast episode, hindsight definitely is 2020. And at the same time, learn from those of us on the other side, listen to us, reach out, ask questions. I always offer free support calls to anybody and everybody who is willing to jump on a call, because so many times we don't know what we need. So feel free to go to contactwendy.com, schedule a time, and let me support support you, let me tell you what it is that I'm hearing you say, where it is that I believe you could get the best support. And it may not be me. It may be one of my amazing colleagues that I get to refer you to, but at least they're a trusted, vested source. So again, you guys, thank you so much for tuning in today. I love hearing your feedback. So definitely reach back out and share with me what landed for you. And for those of you who have other thoughts around what it was that you wish you knew now that you're on the other side, share those with me, and perhaps you'll be in an upcoming podcast episode. So sending you all tons of love, light, and joy as always. Mwah. Bye, everybody.